Well, the Employment Minister, Chris Grayling, is this morning visiting TNT's newest post-delivery unit in London's Victoria and joins us from there now. Good morning to you.
Hello there.
It's down, the unemployment figure, but it's still high.
Well, of course, it's still much too high. I mean, it's at least now fallen below 2.5 million, or 2.6 million rather. I want to see it much, much lower, but to be honest, I'm at least encouraged in what are difficult times economically that we're seeing improvements really across the board. I think the changes to employment are very encouraging. Big increase in full-time employment, big increase in private sector employment. The fact that overall unemployment is coming down, that has to be good news.
It does seem strange that the unemployment figures coming down seem so out of step with what everybody else is telling us, with the GDP figures showing us in a double-dip recession. How do you explain that difference?
Well, I think the answer is I don't have a simple answer to that. I think it has to be a sign that the picture in the economy as a whole is not as bleak as some people have suggested. These are very difficult times economically. We've got all the challenges in the Eurozone, which has dampened business confidence. But the reality is out there, people are still moving into employment, employers are still taking on new staff. And what we're seeing also is young people moving into work. One of the things that's happening here at TNT is that they're hiring a number of young people, longer term unemployed, through the government's work programme, giving them their first opportunity of getting on the jobs ladder. And I want to see that continue, obviously.
A lot of people calling for a government guarantee for the long-term unemployed, that after 12 months they should be found work and the government should pay for it.
Well, I think it's much more important actually to get people into long-term employment. Creating artificial places paid for by government doesn't build a long-term career for people. So what we're doing is we're directing our resource, for example, through the youth contract, where we're providing a subsidy to employers who take on a long-term unemployed young person. And that's precisely what we're now seeing in a place like this. Young people who are getting the opportunity to start out in the workplace on a journey that I hope will be a long-term career and not a short-term government-funded place.
There are quite a few security jobs going.
There's quite a few jobs going across a lot of sectors, and what's very noticeable is that this is not just about one part of the country. What we're seeing is improvement across the country as a whole. We're also seeing quite a lot of people coming into the job market for the first time, people who were previously classified as economically inactive. And indeed, some of the upward pressure we've seen on unemployment in the last year or so has come from people entering the labour market for the first time. And the figures on job seekers allowance today, a small increase, but actually that increase is down to policy changes. We're moving people from one type of benefit to another. In overall terms today, there are nearly 100,000 fewer people on out-of-work benefits than there were 2 years ago at the time of the election.
Chris Grayling, thank you very much for your time this morning.